Hello children, we were studying nutrition and now we will continue with the components of food. We have already dealt with carbohydrates and now we will start with the second important component, that is fats. Now children, fats again, they are also composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, the only difference is that here the oxygen content is much less. One thing more about fat that we must know is that they produce more energy than carbohydrates. Still, we say that carbohydrate is a better source of energy than fat, or in other words, it is said that we should consume less fat. Why? Because fat gets digested very slowly and its oxidation in the body requires more energy. Okay, so this is the reason why carbohydrates are preferred over fats. Then the different sources of fat. Now we all know that there are animal as well as plant sources of fats like butter, clarified butter, cheese, vegetable oil, beef, fish liver oil. Okay, so here you can see that your butter, cheese, animal sources, they are from animal source, vegetable oil, plant source. Okay, so these are the two major sources of fat. Then the building blocks or the basic units through which fats are made, they are fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, so fats and oils, they are made up of fatty acids and glycerol. Now what fats does? Children, one more thing I would like to remind you. If you remember that you've studied balanced diet and you've studied the general percentage of the different components of food. So a balanced diet should contain at least 15% of fat, not more than that. Okay, so what is the function? First function here is given, that is it produces energy. So both carbohydrates and fats, they are energy giving sources. Okay, energy giving food, and it is also a storage form of food. It is an ideal material for the purpose of storage of food. Serves as a solvent for fat soluble vitamins. You all know that vitamins are basically classified into two types, water soluble and fat soluble. So all the fat soluble vitamins, they need fats for proper dissolution. Then fats, they form a layer below the skin which in a way prevents loss of heat from the body, and in this way it acts as an insulator. It also forms a proper, gives us a proper contour, and it forms a cushion like structure around brain, heart, kidney, etc., so that the body can, these vital organs can bear the shock whenever any person is encountered with any some incident. Okay, so all the vital organs also have this layer of fat around them. So these are the basic functions of fat. Next, moving on to another important component, that is proteins. Now proteins are macromolecules and they are having very high molecular weight. They are heavy molecules. They are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. Now nitrogen is one very important element in proteins, and some of them might also contain sulfur and phosphorus. Okay, so and what are proteins made up of? They are made up of amino acids. We all know that there are around 20 amino acids and they help in formation of proteins. All right, then proteins, they provide chemical material for the growth and repair of body cells. That is why they are also known as body building food. We all know that proteins, they help in repair of the body or muscle growth of the body. In the time of emergency, proteins may also be oxidized to release energy. Now this happens during severe starvation. When a person is starving for a very long period of time, then the body will definitely try to protect all the vital organs and will continue to supply energy. So for that, if there is no carbohydrate left, then ultimately body starts breaking down proteins to release energy. Okay, so this is in the time of emergency. What are different sources of proteins? Again, proteins can be obtained through both plant as well as animal sources. So lean meat, fish, eggs, milk, cheese, nuts, pea, gram, these are all different sources of proteins. Now, these are two diseases which you can see on your screen, which I have mentioned. They are there in your book also on page 97 and 98, kwashiorkor and marasmus. Now, when a child depends on mother's milk, and suddenly now you all know that mother's milk is a wholesome food for the infant. So if suddenly this is withdrawn, and if the child starts getting a diet which is very poor in proteins, then because of severe protein deficiency, the child may start suffering from kwashiorkor. And marasmus is one such disease which will be seen in such infants who suffer from not only protein but carbohydrate and fat deficiency as well. So if the body is suffering from protein, energy deficiency, okay, means protein also, carbohydrate also, and fats also, then the child, the infant will suffer from marasmus. So marasmus is caused due to deficiency of carbohydrates, fats and proteins, and kwashiorkor is caused because of severe deficiency of proteins. Okay, so this is the basic difference, and we will study differences further. Now, kwashiorkor usually affects young children who survive on diet poor in proteins. As I told you, this line is also written in your book. Okay, then it is also written that mother's milk is rich in proteins, and after weaning the child is given a diet mainly consisting of carbohydrates and poor in proteins. Now, what is weaning? Means when you are trying to suddenly change the habit of the child. So if you start withdrawing mother's milk and start giving the child the adult diet, and suppose the adult diet is not fulfilling the protein requirement of the child, then in that case the child starts suffering from kwashiorkor. So that is why now you can understand that generally the age group that will be affected by this disease will be below 5 years. Okay, so all children below 5 years, especially in developing or underdeveloped nations, they suffer from these diseases. Now, what are the symptoms of kwashiorkor? Stunted growth, underweight child. Now, obviously, since the child is not getting all the components of food and the body is going through a prolonged period of deficiency, so the child will not have proper growth and will be underweight. Skin becomes dry and scaly, hair becomes reddish, then the body also swells up. Why? Because of retention of water in the body, and whenever there is such swelling in the feet or in the hands, then the belly protrusion is there. Such swelling is called edema. Belly protrusion is the most prominent symptom in case of kwashiorkor. The limbs, they become thin and bony. Liver damages, and the child suffers from loss of appetite, and vomiting and diarrhea, they are frequent. Okay, so these are the symptoms of kwashiorkor. Now, what can be the possible treatment or control? It is an obvious answer. You all know that if the diet becomes protein rich, if the child starts getting proper protein rich diet, then this problem can be removed. Okay, so the diet should have pulses, milk. Then if non-vegetarian food can be given, then fish, meat, if all these things the child eats, wheat, gram, peanuts, then the protein rich diet will solve this problem of kwashiorkor. Okay, then next is your marasmus. It usually affects infants. Now, who are infants? You all know, 0 to 1 year of age. Okay, and is due to deficiency of carbohydrates, fats and proteins in diet. Now, this happens due to sudden stoppage of breastfeeding. I told you earlier also, children, that if suddenly you stop feeding, as that milk is containing everything, but if suddenly it is stopped, especially in case of infants, and then you start feeding that child with some adult diet, that too in less quantity, the adult diet, the child will not be able to digest and will not get enough carbohydrates, proteins and fats. What are the symptoms? Again, less body weight, the muscles, skin and bone, they get degenerated. The child starts looking like an old person. Okay, the skin becomes folded. Thin face, thinning of limbs, retarded physical and mental growth, and ribs, they appear prominent. Here you can see the picture. The first picture is of a child suffering from kwashiorkor, and the second picture is of a child suffering from marasmus. In the first picture, the belly protrusion is seen clearly, and in the second picture, the prominent ribs can be clearly seen and thin limbs. Okay. Now, this table is there in your book on page number 98, table 10.1, differences between kwashiorkor and marasmus. So, the basic differences are given. These are self-explanatory. I have already explained all the points. This table is very important. Now, moving on to that, how to control marasmus. Again, if a child is suffering from marasmus, then the child should be given a diet which is balanced, rich in proteins and carbohydrates. All right. Now, in the next one, we will study about salts, vitamins and minerals. And please go through this chapter nicely, and I will meet you in the next one and we will have virtual class. Thank you, children.